Have you ever had that feeling that you're just not seeing the world clearly? You know, like there's something deeper going on, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into a pretty profound 3-step guide from an ancient Buddhist text that basically promises to help us see reality for what it actually is. So, how do we do it? Well, it all kicks off with this amazing invitation from the Buddha himself, which you can find in the Lotus Sutra, a really important Mahayana text. And he doesn't just, give you a list of rules. He invites you on a journey. And that journey, believe it or not, starts at the door of a metaphorical room. And here it is. This is the invitation. To enter the room of the Tathāgata, by the way, Tathāgata is just another name for the Buddha, means to have great compassion. To wear his robe means to be gentle and patient. To sit on his seat means to see the voidness of all things. Now that sounds beautiful, right? But it's way more than just nice poetry. This is actually a practical, step-by-step guide for a huge shift in how we see everything. So yeah, we've got our 3 steps. It's kind of like a beautiful puzzle. So let's walk through it together and unpack what it really means to enter this room, put on this robe, and finally take this seat. Okay, first up, entering the room. Now, the key thing here, and it's a big one, is that this isn't about hiding away from the world. It's actually all about how we engage with it. And it turns out that's the absolute essential first step. So get this, the room of wisdom we're supposed to enter is compassion. True understanding doesn't happen in isolation. It starts by connecting with other people, by actually trying to help them. Why? Because when we do that, we start to break down that wall we all build between me and them. That's the foundation for everything that follows. Okay, so we're inside the room of compassion. Now what? Well, you gotta get dressed, right? Which brings us to our second and just as important step on this journey. We're told we have to wear a robe of gentleness and patience. Now let's be super clear. This isn't about being passive or letting people walk all over you. It's about developing a kind of inner peace, a resilience. Think about it. When you're not constantly reacting with anger or getting frustrated, your mind calms down, it becomes still, and it's only in that stillness that you can really start to see how things actually work. All right, we've entered the room, we've put on the robe. Now for the final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, this is the one that trips a lot of people up. It's time to take our seat. So yeah, seeing the voidness of all things. I know, it sounds pretty heavy, right? Maybe even a little depressing, like nothing matters. But what if I told you the real meaning is the complete opposite of that it's actually something deeply, profoundly positive? And this right here is the heart of a huge misunderstanding. So often people hear voidness and they think it means things don't exist, but that's not it at all. The actual teaching is way more subtle and frankly way more interesting. It's that nothing is permanent and nothing is self-existing. And that distinction, well, it changes absolutely everything. To really get this, just picture a wisp of smoke. Is it real? Of course, you can see it right there. But it's also constantly changing, shifting, disappearing right before your eyes. It perfectly shows that first point. It's real, but it is not permanent. Or how about a smile? A smile is totally real. It can change your whole day. But it's not a solid thing. It doesn't exist on its own. It needs a person, a feeling, a moment, and then it's gone. That's a beautiful example of the second point. It's not self-existing. And this is the core idea. Voidness isn't nothingness. It's interconnectedness. It's this incredible idea that reality is like a giant dynamic web. Everything is constantly changing. Everything is tied to everything else. Nothing, and I mean nothing, stands alone. So let's bring it all home. What happens when we actually do this? When we enter the room of compassion, put on the robe of patience, and take the seat of voidness? What's the payoff? Well, we finally start to see things as they really are. We stop fighting against the constant flow of life. Instead of resisting change, we actually see the harmony in it. And that powerful shift in perspective, that's what the text calls seeing the Buddha Dharma, which really just means seeing the truth of how things are. And the result of seeing this harmony is huge. The text puts it this way: nothing hinders us, nothing opposes us. I mean, just think about that for a second. If you truly get that everything is interconnected, that nothing is permanent, you realize there's nothing fundamentally separate from you to be in conflict with. And this question, this is really the gift of this whole journey. If you could truly live from that place of compassion, patience, and interconnection, a place where you genuinely felt that nothing was fundamentally opposed to you, what kind of world would open up for you? What would become possible?